What's the biggest lie you told that came back to bite you? I once convinced an entire Trader Joe's that I was having a stroke to avoid introducing my boyfriend to the guy who'd given me chlamydia sophomore year. That's the level of performance art required when you've slept with 127 people, and your boyfriend thinks your number is 3. Blake was different from anyone I'd ever met. He was the first person who made me want to delete my roster instead of adding to it. 3 dates in, we were slightly drunk on cheap wine at his apartment when he mentioned his ex. She kept this list on her phone. He laughed bitterly. Like I was supposed to be impressed she'd screwed half of downtown. 20-something people at 25 years old? I can't build a future with someone who treats hooking up like a competitive sport. I felt my soul leave my body. My own list wasn't on my phone. It was in a spreadsheet with subcategories. I heard myself saying, yeah, totally. I've only been with 3 people, all relationships. The truth was I'd slept with 20 people just in the 3 months before meeting him. So for 2 years, I turned dating into a military operation. I had a color-coded map of downtown. Red zones where I'd hooked up with bartenders, yellow for restaurants with waitstaff I'd slept with, green for safe spaces. Our dates looked spontaneous, but I planned them like bank heists. Let's try that new place on 5th, I'd suggest, knowing it was safely outside the blast radius of my past. The close calls were constant. Once at Target, 3 guys from the soccer team rounded the corner while Blake and I were shopping for sheets. I yanked him into the feminine hygiene aisle and started loudly discussing yeast infections until they passed. Another time, I faked sudden violent food poisoning when I spotted a former friends with benefits walking toward our dinner table. Blake held my hair back in the restaurant bathroom while I made convincing retching sounds into the toilet. I became an expert at spotting trouble and dodging it. I'd scan every room we entered like a Secret Service agent. I developed a sixth sense for when someone recognized me. That slight double take, the beginning of a smirk. I'd immediately grab Blake's face for a passionate kiss or spill something dramatic enough to cause a scene and escape in the chaos. The lying was exhausting. I created detailed backstories for my 3 serious boyfriends. When Blake asked why he never ran into any of my exes in such a small town, I claimed they'd all moved away after graduation. Weird coincidence, right? I even photoshopped fake goodbye posts on old Facebook screenshots as proof. The worst part was pretending to be inexperienced. I'd bite my tongue when he'd teach me things I'd literally done 100 times, acting like everything was brand new and amazing. Once I got too comfortable and did this complicated move without thinking. He stopped completely. How do you even know how to do that? I panicked and said I must be naturally flexible from Pilates. Every public outing was Russian roulette. At the farmer's market, I'd hide behind produce displays. At basketball games, I insisted we sit in the nosebleeds for the better view. I even convinced Blake I had a sun allergy to avoid the pool where half the swim team lifeguarded. Guys who'd know exactly how that butterfly tattoo on my hip ended. Blake was worth every bit of subterfuge. He brought me coffee in bed, remembered my mom's birthday, and looked at me like I'd hung the moon. His parents invited me to family dinners where his mom would say things like, "It's so nice Blake found someone who respects herself." I'd smile while mentally cataloging the time I did body shots off the entire starting lineup at a house party. Then came his company holiday party. I'd spent hours vetting the guest list through his work Facebook, cross-referencing every male name with my spreadsheet. I was so focused on avoiding guys I'd slept with that I didn't even glance at the women's names. That's how I missed Ashley from my sorority. She spotted me before I saw her, already 3 drinks deep at the open bar. Blake and I were mid-conversation with his boss when I heard the scream, "Oh my god, is that who I think it is?" Ashley crashed into our circle, Prosecco sloshing. Blake smiled politely, assuming she was just a drunk coworker. The girl who single-handedly made Kappa Delt legendary finally settled down. My blood turned to ice. Blake laughed, confused. "You two know each other?" "We're sorority sisters. This girl's a legend," Ashley announced to the table. "Did she tell you her nickname?" Blake looked confused. "What nickname?" "The Pan-Hellenic Princess. She went through every fraternity." Ashley was cackling. "Remember those 3 Sigma Chi brothers?" Same night. The color drained from Blake's face. "Ashley's drunk," I started. "I have pictures." She pulled out her phone, showing everyone a photo of our sorority bathroom. Tally marks covered the wall, organized by Greek letters. "Look, there's her Century Club party. Me, crown, cake shaped like a wiener. Game over." Blake stood up so fast his chair fell over. I chased him to the parking lot, babbling explanations about how I was different now, how he changed me. He just kept repeating, "3? You said 3?" He left me standing there. 2 weeks later, I saw him at Whole Foods with a girl wearing a purity ring.